So that means this is the frame Google contact.html, and this one is the form from Amazon contact.html. Both are two different web pages. By using iframe tag, I'm calling those web pages in my main page. Okay, so by using iframe tag, I'm calling some different HTML web elements. Means I'm handling some different HTML web page web elements I'm handling. So what is the iframe ID? What is the name of the first frame? Google underscore contact form. And what is the second frame name? Amazon underscore contact form. Okay, now let's go to the application Eclipse part. See here, I am invoke my application URL, and after that I want to switch into the Google contact form. So I have written driver dot switch to dot frame of whatever frame name is there, that is the frame name I have taken. What is the frame name here? Google underscore contact form. So that is the frame name I have written, and after that whatever web element names are available, I'm writing them. Set of driver commands. So now my driver is available inside the frame, because driver dot switch to dot frame of frame name means what will happen is the driver, it will jump from main page section to into this frame. So after that I am writing set of driver commands, and once my set of driver commands are I have executed, I want to exit from the current frame. So to exit from the current frame, I need to write driver dot switch to dot default content. Got the point? So I'm exiting from the current frame here. So after exiting the current frame, again my driver will come back to the main page of the section. And after that, I'm writing driver dot switch to dot frame of frame name. So now I'm switching into the second frame. So based on frame name, I'm switching into the second frame. And after that, I'm writing set of driver commands. And after that, I want to exit from the current frame so that I can come back to the main page of the section. Okay. So whenever you are entering into some frame, you have to exit once the set of driver commands are executed, so that you can able to come back to the main page of the section. So to exit from the current frame, you need to write driver dot switch to dot default content. Suppose, sir, if you don't write this set of driver instructions, according to driver, these web elements are available on the main page of the section. If you don't write driver dot switch to dot frame of frame name, according to the driver, those web element names are available on the main page of the section. Is it really available here? No. Only these web elements only it will be available. These web elements are related to Google contact.html. So first you have to switch into the frame name, so that driver will come back to this first Google contact frame. And after that, you can write set of driver instructions, whatever by name or XPath or ID. Those set of driver commands can be executed. Suppose if I don't switch, if driver doesn't know about this location, about this locator, if driver could not able to locate that web element by based on name, what kind of exception it will throw? We have already discussed. No such element exception. If driver could not able to locate that web element, it will simply throw no such element exception. It will throw. So now let me run this program. So this time my program, it will at line number 37, my program execution will be failed, because on the main page of the section that web element is not available. Click on proceed. So that means the summary of frames topic is, whenever any of the web element is inside the frame, you have to write driver dot switch to dot frame of frame name. After that only you can write set of driver and commands. That's it. Over. Okay. See now here, first name, last name, send keys, it was not entered, and your program execution is showing as failure. And which line of code it was failed also it will show you. So what is our program name? So this one, switch by frame name. So at line number login test. So at line number 37, it is got failed. And what kind of exception it is throwing? No such element exception. Unable to locate element name as first name. So this is the name, it cannot able to locate it. Once driver is entering into that frame, then only it can able to locate. So now I have removed comments and I'm executing this time. So driver will enter into the frame, and after that this web elements it can locate. And after that I'm writing driver dot switch to dot default content, so that I can exit from the current frame and I can go back to the second frame. I can write it, and I'm writing and I'm coming. Again, I want to come back to the first frame. So whatever frame name you are writing, you can come back. And after that, what I am doing, the previous first name I have written here, Selenium Sudhakar. So the first name, the previous value I'm clearing. Okay. Anyway, this topic we can discuss it. I'm keeping these lines of code in comments. Okay, let me save this program and run it. See, this time all my set of driver instructions got executed because my driver is switching into the frame, and after that it is able to locate that web element, and after that it is exiting from the current frame and it is coming back to the main frame. And whenever I want to switch into the second frame, I have written driver dot switch to dot frame of frame name. And after that set of driver commands I have written, and I'm writing driver dot switch to dot default content. So I'm exiting. Okay, so like that. And if I want to come back, so second frame web elements I handle. Again, if I want to come back to the first frame, what I'm doing is simply I'm writing frame name. The previous values I have written these values. I'm clearing the previous value in the text field and I'm typing this is the new value. Okay, and the last name previous value I'm clearing, and send keys, this is the new value I'm typing. So like that. Okay, so once after entering the first frame details, I'm exiting. So now let's see and run the program. So simply we can switch into the frame, okay, based on frame name. That's it. Okay, and whenever you want to exit from the frame, you need to write driver dot switch to dot default content. Okay, so how can I know whether a web element is inside a frame or not? Right click on the web element. If we are able to see view frame source, that means that web element is available inside a frame. You have to know frame name. How can I check the frame name? Just right click here, main view page source, and you can go back. What is the frame name has been given? You can check and you can understand. Okay, these are web elements are from different HTML, like that. So, okay, let me take a notepad. So frames, if web elements are inside a frame, we need to write driver dot switch to dot frame of frame name. And so just for example, I'm keeping these lines. So we are switching into the frame. So frame means by using, so our developer will use the tag name as iframe. So in the interviews, people will ask, what is mean by iframe? So when developer will use iframe tag. So developer will use iframe tag whenever he wants to call some another HTML page, developer will use iframe tag name. So in that case, the web elements cannot be handled directly. So first we have to switch into the frame, driver dot switch to dot frame of frame name. And after that, you have to write set of driver commands. And after that, I want to exit from the current frame, driver dot switch to dot default content. So this is the explanation part you have to give in the interview. Clear, everyone? Okay, now let's go to the next point. So frames can be handled. So here frames handled by using frame name. We are able to switch into frame by frame name. So we can able to switch into the frame by frame name. So this is the first concept. Okay, so frames can be handled in 3 ways. So just now we discussed by frame name. The second approach is We can also switch into a frame by index. We can switch into the frame by indexes. Okay. Right now, how many frames are available in the page? 2 frames. Okay, first frame means Google contact frame, and second frame means Amazon frame. So that is we are clear. So 2 frames are there. So if I am writing driver dot switch to dot frame of frames dot get of 0 means I'm switching into the first frame. Okay, let's see this explanation. List of web element frames is equal. Suppose if I will write here anchor tag. Okay, how many number of hyperlinks are there on a web page? We discussed in locators topic. In locators topic, how can I know number of web elements on a web page? So this is the topic. So if we want to know the number of anchor tags, we can write like this: list of web element links is equal to driver dot find elements more than one web element. So then I can come to know how many anchor tags are there on a web page. This is what we discussed. Similarly, same line of code I have written. Okay, same line of code I have written, and instead of anchor tag, here I am writing. Okay, here I am writing what is the frame name? iframe. Okay, 1 second. So this is the frame name. So if you want to find this, how many number of frames? So here you need to write driver dots list of web element frames is equal to driver dot find elements by tag name of. So definitely we can identify 2 frames, and I want to know how many frames. Here frames dot size of it will give here it will store 2. In this variable it will store 2, and so number of frames, this is the value I'm printing in the console. So number of frames is 2, it will print in the console. So when line number 41 got executed, we can come to know 2 frames are there. And if you if you want to jump into the first frame, this is the part. So driver dot switch to dot frame of frames dot get of 0. So that driver will jump into the first frame. And after that, you can write set of driver commands and everything. Okay. And if you want to jump into the second frame, driver dot switch to dot frame of frames dot get of 1. So like that. Got the point? So here I'm able to switch into the frame based on index. Okay, 1 second. Okay, based on index number. So frames dot. So first I'm getting the number of. So by using line number 39, I can come to know how many number of frames. After that, whichever first frame I want to switch, frames dot get of 0. Okay, and if I want to jump into the second frame, frames dot get of 1. That's it. Remaining all lines of code is same. If you want to jump into the frames by name reference within the double quotation, you can write direct double whatever frame name is there. Okay, most of the cases people will use frame name only. Okay, but some people they can also handle by using indexing concept. So frames dot. So let me run this one frames by index concept. Run as. See, all these values successfully populated. So that this time I handle my frames based on indexing number. So this is the main line of code is important. Switch into frame by index. This is the main line of the code. So driver dot find elements by tag name of iframe, and after that I'm writing driver dot this is the line. To exit from the frame, you need to write driver dot switch. This is common. So second concept is completed. Okay. So we can handle frames in 3 ways that we discussed. So based on frame name, we are able to switch. And based on indexing number also we are able to switch. And based on, okay, next one is web element reference. Switch into frame by web element reference. Okay, now let's see this part. So third program, switch into the frame by web element reference. So here you can write driver dot find element by ID. So what is the web element syntax? Driver dot find element by ID. So here we already know. Here we already know paces. What is the idea of this web element iframe? Google contact form. And this one is Amazon contact form. So this so we can say this is one web element. Okay, and this is one web element. Based on iframe ID, I'm switching into the frame. So driver dot switch to dot frame of. So here I need to write driver dot. So even if you don't write, that's fine, because find element, web element, the complete web element border will be highlighted. So I have written like that. If you are writing driver dot, so that complete frame border, it cannot be highlighted. That's it only. So find element by ID. So based on driver dot find element by ID. So based on, so this syntax we can call it as a web element. So I'm switching into the frame based on web element reference. What is the point? So the syntax of web element reference is driver dot find element by ID. Okay. So after that, I'm writing set of driver commands, and I'm writing. And here also driver dot switch to dot frame of. This one is called driver dot find element by ID. So I'm switching into the frame based on web element iframe web element ID reference. And after that, I'm writing set of driver commands. So that means I can able to switch into the frame by web element reference. Switch into frame. Okay, let me write syntax. Okay, so that means this is the summary of the frame. Okay, so what is a frame? Frame means it is we are calling some separate HTML into the main page by using iframes. Okay, and frames can be handled in Selenium in 3 ways. Switch into the frame by name reference, switch into the frame by index reference, switch into the frame by web element reference. If it is by name reference, driver dot switch to dot frame of frame name. If it is by index reference, you need to tell list of web element frames is equal to driver dot find elements by tag name of iframe. And after that, we need, if you want to switch into the first frame, driver dot switch to dot frame of frames dot get of 0. Okay, and you can write set of driver instructions related to first frame. And to exit from the frame, we need to write driver dot switch to dot default content. And if you want to switch into the frame based on web element reference, so you can take the iframe ID of that web element, driver dot find element by ID, we are writing, and we are switching into the required frame. So let me execute the third program also. So here, switch into the frame by web element reference. So people will follow any of the techniques, but most of the people will use frame by name reference. So program got executed successfully like that. Okay, sir, I have written correct XPath only, correct ID only, correct name only. Still my program is executing. Just take an attention, inspect that web element. Is that web element is inside the frame or outside the frame? And after that, you can handle it. Okay, so that's it. We have learned in today's class scenario outline and frames concept. Okay, whenever any of the web elements is inside the frame, just handle it by using any of these techniques. Okay, let me share this running notes. Yeah, that's it for today. Okay. So this week complete target is we want to complete Cucumber topics only. So let's target to automate scenario and scenario outline. Do this more labs on Orange HRM application. Okay, so you have to do other websites after completion of 10 or 15 days class. You can target any of other websites, but in the beginning of the sessions, you have to do, okay, you have to do these labs. Okay, so no need to do any labs and friends. Just go and run these programs. Whether these programs are able to run it in your system, just try to understand this concept. Whenever these concepts are coming, just refer the syntax part from these labs. Okay, so that's it for today's session. Thank you, everyone. We will see in tomorrow's class.
Sir,
Yes, yes.
sir, how to create a project file totally by adding dependencies and adding libraries?
Yes, yes. That
Like,
still,
you are giving the.
yeah, I'm giving the existing project, right? So in a separate class, okay, maybe in Saturday's class, I will tell you how to create a new project and all these things from beginning of the project, how to do, we can tell it on Saturday's class.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.